Stop messing around, stop fooling around, stop delaying, stop procrastinating. Get up, get out, get it done. Everything is possible, nothing is a problem, and anything can be overcome. I just get my ass up out of bed, I get my shit together, and I get out and I start the fight. And that will transform you from a mere mortal into a superhuman being. I've never, ever, ever met anybody who told me that they got rich watching their IRA or their 401k.
Welcome back to the Reaction Room, Peter. How you doing?
George, I'm tired. No, I'm not tired. I'm hungry. No, I'm not hungry. I'm great.
Have you ever been just famished and exhausted for one of these filmings and you've
No.
been like, fuck, I'm
Not for
I'm
one
done
of
with
these
this.
filmings.
No. Okay, that's good.
No.
I
Not
appreciate
at all.
appreciate you coming prepared.
Yeah.
All right, want to get into some reactions? We got from a gentleman named Baker. I think it's Baker Mont. He says, spoke with a self-storage bro that is getting an incredible deal by a follow-up cold call. If you aren't following up with owners that tell you no once, then you'll only ever buy garbage deals in garbage markets. What do you think?
Yeah. So the first thing I think about someone who's tweeting about something in business and who's saying that he spoke with a self-storage bro that is getting an incredible deal,
Yeah.
I just stopped listening. Because anybody that speaks like that about business is not really speaking business. But I realize that as a 54-year-old guy that there's younger people out there and people have a different language than I do.
Yeah.
But look, I'm used to talking about deals in a certain way,
Yeah.
not that I spoke with a self-storage bro.
Yeah.
Look, you get anything in life by doing more than the competition is doing. So
Yeah.
if you make one phone call, making two is better.
Yeah.
Making three might even be better, until the point if you're annoying someone and they're just not going to speak to you because they find you annoying, that would be bad. But if it takes an extra point of contact or an extra touch point to get a deal or to get the date or to get the seat change on the airplane or whatever it is you're trying to do, then make that extra call.
Yeah.
Just understand the fine line between persistence and annoyance.
Yeah.
And I think you'll go far with lots of things. But look, we're talking about real estate, tracking down deals, buying buildings. A lot of times it takes personal visits, extra phone calls, handwritten notes. It takes the extra, the things that everybody else isn't doing, you have to do.
Yeah.
So if this guy is saying that his friend got a deal because he made a follow-up call, yeah, that's great. That's one deal. Let's see you do it 100 times over the course of 50 years for the rest of your life, you'll have a career. To win, to get ahead, to succeed, you have to stand out. A follow-up phone call, standing out.
Yeah.
Handwritten note, standing out. Personal visit, standing out. Be careful not to annoy. There's a difference between persistence and annoyance. It's your job to know when to pull the reins back and when to put your foot on the gas pedal.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool.
If you aren't following up with the owners that tell you no once, then you'll only ever buy garbage deals in garbage markets. Yeah. Well, I don't know, Baker Mont. I'd like to analyze this deal that your SS bro got and see what kind of deal it was and what kind of market it is. But he makes a good point. Yeah. Follow up, you'll get more done.
Yeah, cool. All right, we'll head
Just
over.
don't call him a bro, because you sound like a douche.
100%.
Yeah.
All right. Well, bro, do you want to head over to the table?
Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah, we can just jump into it.
We can jump into it.
Yeah. So,
Can you please get a picture of what you have going on facially from the shoulders up for our viewers to see?
Absolutely.
It's quite interesting.
Yeah.
George changes his look like a chameleon every week.
Yeah. It's funny that when I went to acting school and I realized I was in the wrong business because in acting, you actually want a type. Like you want to be the same all the time so you can market yourself. And I realized I was like, fuck, I don't want to do that. Like,
you want to change?
I'm changing
every day.
I'm changing every week. That's where it's at.
So what are we talking about?
Yes, we're talking about REITs to start off with. We talked about this a bit in the past, but REIT earnings were some of the highest on record in Q4 in 2021. But a lot of times people wrongly conflate REITs with real estate investing.
Okay.
So I was curious, like, what are the differences between investing in REITs and investing in income-producing real estate directly? And
So a few things. First of all, when you say REITs had great earnings in Q4, not all REITs did. The office REITs didn't. Multifamily REITs did.
Yeah.
Industrial REITs did. Storage REITs did. The offices, not so much. So let's just be clear, not all asset classes are created equal. So investing in REITs, look, you're buying very liquid, publicly traded shares of a company whose job it is to own real estate and manage it and be in the financial markets all the time, constantly refinancing its debt and making distributions. When you own shares of a REIT, you own shares. You don't own the real estate. You own an entity that's involved in the ownership of real estate, but you don't own real estate. Right there is a fundamental difference, George. Why do I have to keep saying this to you? Are you not like...
Well, I'd like to think that I've gotten the message, but for those that haven't heard it yet.
Look, when you own real estate, you're being rewarded for owning that real estate. Our government incentivizes us and rewards us for owning real estate.
Yeah.
We don't get rewarded for owning REIT shares or stock shares or 401ks or anything else. We get rewarded for owning real estate. We get rewarded with great tax incentives and benefits. We get rewarded with amortization, depreciation, write-offs. We get rewarded with leverage. In any other industry, you don't find the same leverage that you do in real estate. Real estate has the most favorable leverage metrics of any business. Where else can you get into business? And a bank will give you 70 or 75% of the money you need to get into business. Right. No business is like that. Yep. Usually banks are giving you 30%, 50%. You have to sign personally. In multifamily, I can borrow non-recourse up to 70, 75% of the amount that I need to get into business can be borrowed. It's a very simple process. It's a very competitive process. I get great favorable terms. So the REITs are out there in the debt markets all the time. They're constantly required to replace debt, and they're constantly subject to whatever the debt markets are doing. Right. And as the owner of shares of a REIT, you're only getting the benefit of your particular asset class. In this case, we said that offices weren't performing. So if you own office REITs, you didn't do well. The multifamily REITs, the industrial REITs, they're out there in the markets. They're performing well. They're replacing old debt with new debt. They were able to return a lot of money. But you get a return based on the shares that you have. It's taxable just like a dividend is from stocks. Yeah. And you don't get the classic benefits of direct real estate ownership. So owning real estate is very different than owning a REIT. Let's just get that clear right now. George, REITs are great for getting broad exposure to real estate. You don't own the real estate, you have exposure to real estate. It's sort of like these crazy complicated financial derivatives that we read about all the time. Collateralized mortgage-backed securities where you're buying an interest in a product that's backed by a pool of loans, and the loans are secured by mortgages on real estate which were underwritten based on the it's crazy stuff. Yeah. And it goes several layers removed from the original. Look, when I own real estate, I own the real estate. Yeah. I have the keys.
You want to be close to the asset.
My name is on the deed. My company's name is on the deed. What did you just say?
You want to be close to the asset.
One more time.
You want to be close to the asset.
You want to be close to your asset. I'm in the real estate business, so I'm in the business of owning real estate. I want to be where my asset is. I want to know my tenants. I want to screen my tenants. I want to support my tenants. I want to fix my tenants' water heaters and refrigerators. And if I do that well, and if I do it with a smile on my face, I can create a great service experience for them, and they'll renew with me, and I'll get increases at renewal of the rents that they pay, and I'll be able to build a team around providing this excellent service and creating an excellent product. When I own a REIT share, all I do is own the REIT share. When I don't want to own it anymore, I just sell it on the open market. But when I own real estate, I own it. I'm in there, man. I am all up in the grill of that real estate. Everything about it. The town I'm in, the city administration, the city council, my management team, my residents. There's so many wonderful things that happen as a result of me owning real estate. There's really only one potential good thing that happens if I'm an owner of a share of a REIT, and that is maybe I get a return on my shares of that REIT. But I get no great tax benefit above and beyond anything else, and no great other features of ownership of a REIT above and beyond anything else. But when I own real estate, I own so much. I own so many opportunities, not just the real estate that I own, but I own opportunities within the boundaries of that real estate. I can improve the yard, the exterior, the interior. I can perhaps, if I'm lucky, increase rents by creating more services, amenities, beautifying the property, curb appeal, all of these things that as an entrepreneur, I want to impart value and have an impact on this real estate. Way different than owning shares of a REIT. When I own shares of a REIT, nothing's happening. But look, I get liquidity. With shares of a REIT, you get liquidity.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be out, just go sell it.
Yeah.
Good or bad, positive, negative, win or loss, you can just sell it. Like, if when I want to sell my real estate, it's pretty easy these days to sell real estate, but it takes 90 days. There has to be a ready, willing, and able buyer who has to get maybe financing. And, so there's a lot of pieces of the puzzle. It's not as liquid a process as it is just buying and selling shares of a REIT.
Totally. All right. I think I got it. I won't ask you again, at least for not for another year. So
George, just stay close to your asset.
I'll stay close to the asset. Yeah, I'll get t-shirts made.
Thank you.
Homes earned more for owners than jobs last year, according to Zillow.
One more time. Homes
earned more for owners than jobs.
When?
For last year, 2021.
Okay.
Yeah. So
remember that.
Yeah,
Go on.
Yeah. So that's according to Zillow Group Incorporated, which
let's listen to them.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if I should give full credence to that, considering they're in the business of selling homes, but
they're also in the business of screwing up their algorithm, which appraises the values of properties.
So that's kind of what I was going to ask. Just what do you think about that? What do you think about that report? What do you think about that claim?
So homes, let me tell you, last year this article comes out.
Yeah.
This headline comes out. Did that headline come out in 2008 or 2009 or 2010? Oh no, that headline would have been homes lose more money for homeowners than anything else in the history of mankind. So that would have been the headline then. And now in 2021 or 2022, it's, oh my God, homes are appreciating at such a pace and such a velocity that people are making more money by owning their home than they are at their jobs. Okay, that's an easy claim to make. Look, if you own real estate, congratulations. A pandemic was upon us and we're at war now. The price of real estate's going up. Congratulations, you own real estate. Big deal. You didn't do anything. You just owned your real estate. You can't. How are you going to monitor? You're making more money than your job. How are you making more money? Are you renting it out? No, you're living there, right? That's what the article's talking about.
Yeah.
Right. So are you refinancing and pulling out equity? Okay. Well, if you're doing that, you're increasing the amount of debt you're taking on. So you better have increasing W-2 income to pay for the higher debt that you're taking on. Oh, we're also in a rising rate environment. So look. This sounds like, who was the publisher of this article?
This was, I believe, with Market Watch. But
Market Watch.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sounds like a wet sponge to me. Look, they need content to put out. Yeah, okay, so your home went up in value. That doesn't mean you're making more money. Tell me you're making more money when you're actually making more money. Did you get an increase in pay or job? Or are you making more sales at your business? Are you doing something to generate more revenue at your company? That's making more money.
Yeah.
But just owning your home and having it go up in value when you're not going to sell it, you're not making more money at your job. You're just owning an asset during the peak of a wave, and you better not screw up and you better not refinance at more debt at a higher interest rate, which now the rates are higher. I mean, we're at the 10-year is at 2.4 and change today. Just a few months ago, the 10-year was at 1.4 and change. So we're now 100 basis points higher than we were in December. That's a pretty quick move, and there's more rate increases coming. You don't want to be stuck paying a higher interest rate on a larger loan amount on these homes. Articles like this, George, bug the crap out of me. I mean, if you can't tell, don't get me started.
Well, then I think I should go into this next one, because then we'll just ride the wave of fury, because rent control proposals are on the rise.
God, you're going to do this to me again.
Have you found any tools for property owners to communicate effectively to persuade people away from rent control? Is that
sledgehammers?
Yeah. Is that
pitchforks?
Is that it? Yeah.
Man, so have I found tools to communicate? Look, I haven't, which is why I show up on this podcast almost every week and pound the table and say the only way to deal with housing unaffordability is to...
More supply.
One more time.
Build.
Yeah, build more supply, create more supply. Yeah. All these legislations and regulations do is restrict the existing supply and prevent new supply from coming online. It's bananas. Stop creating legislation and policy that restricts. You have to enable, you have to build. I haven't found a tool to deal with policymakers and local town councils and whoever else is, coming up with these ideas of initiating rent control legislation. It's typically enacted by people that don't know about economics, that don't know about business, that have no private sector experience. 99 out of 100 times, that's who's enacting this legislation. No, I don't have any tools. I go to my city council meetings. I try to be articulate. I try to communicate with them. I try to state a case and back it up with facts and evidence. And even that doesn't work half the time because this shit is so political. They're just doing it for a vote grab. Yeah. They're like, oh, election year, what do? Oh, yeah, rent control. That'll get us some votes. People are for that.
Would I be wrong, though, in assuming that going to the town council meetings might be something that most property owners aren't doing?
Oh, no one does it. It's hard to get engagement. People are complacent. They're generally unplugged. They're inactive. They don't take a stand. There's so many reasons why people don't go to town council meetings and to town hall meetings and talk with their elected. Jesus, you elected these people. Hold them accountable. Like, show up, write letters. Like, man, it's incredible. But these governing bodies, yes, they're enacting all sorts of new policies and legislations to address many things happening in our economy today. Housing prices are one of them. You gotta let people build. You have to create new supply. You have to ease restrictions. You can still keep your eye on what buildings will look like. You can still have a planning and development and technical team to make sure that circulation is good, airflow is good, density and size and mass and the exterior look and feel. All of that stuff has to be right. So by all means, be tough on that stuff. But let developers build. Incentivize them to build. You have to create new supply to ease the imbalance between supply and demand. Right now, there's no supply, and all there is demand, and prices are going through the roof. You can't regulate it. You have to build more supply. Regulating is lazy, it's uneducated, it's ineffective, it doesn't work, and the quickest way to kill your town, other than bombing it, is to put price controls and regulations on housing supply, because you're just going to defeat the whole purpose of what you're trying to do in your town. These towns need money. They need revenue. The single biggest source of revenue for all of these towns everywhere is property taxes. Property taxes are going down as soon as you regulate price control and rent control. So, I've not found an effective way. I lose sleep over this. I pound the table on it every day. I write emails and letters. I'm now the crazy person that shows up to city council meetings. Before it was Rita and Ernest, but they don't have the same firepower and sense of facts and data that I bring to the table.
Yeah, so show up.
I show up. I got a meeting tonight. I got a whole letter in it's 5 pages. I only get 3 minutes at the microphone. So I have to pare down my 5 pages into 2 pages.
Yeah.
I thought I could speak very quickly through and be like, okay, I'm here today to write and go through my letter.
Yeah.
I need 10 minutes at the microphone. They're not going to give it to me.
That's significant, though. It's a five-page letter. Prepare and be prepared for this.
That's this week.
Yeah,
Every week I show up with that stuff.
Yeah.
Who else is doing? You got to get off your ass and do this stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of times they don't listen.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, sometimes they listen.
You're almost constantly involved with contractors and vendors in order to rehab and renovate. What are some pieces of advice, tips, tools, or habits that you've found to be useful in navigating those relationships with contractors and vendors?
Vet your contractors and vendors. Don't go with someone who has no track record. Make sure that you're in business with people that have credibility, the track record, experience. That's the first thing. Documentation. So all of our contractor and sub and vendor relationships are memorialized in a set of contract documents that spell out insurance requirements, start date, end dates, deposit amounts, progress payments, the schedule for progress payments. Everything is spelled out in the document. If it's not, it's just going to flap in the breeze and you're going to get screwed. You have to have things like the provision for a lien release and a waiver. When you issue payment, you got to get a signature saying that they're not going to put a lien on your building for the amount that they've been paid through up through that date. And that's an important thing, because what happens is a lot of these inexperienced subs, you'll make some partial payments and they'll go and fly off the deep end and they'll lien your property for the full amount of the job. Meanwhile, you've paid them 50% of it already. I mean, look, any good lawyer is going to be able to get that lien removed and get an injunction on them, and you can countersue.
But it's something you want to avoid.
You want to have it in the documents. So have a clean set of documents that specify insurance requirements, payment schedule, what the work scope is. You have to attach the detail of the work scope to your contracts, and just have a clear set of expectations. And then on the management side, be a good asset manager. You have to stop by your project, stop by your building. Make sure you're getting your eyes on the various things that your subs or vendors are doing. Did all of the cabinets get delivered? Where's the checklist? Who signed for them? Make sure that the cabinet count that got delivered matches what you ordered. Same with windows, same with doors, hardware. Any delivery that comes to the property, count it, make sure it's safe and secure, lock it up so that nothing walks off the property. My God, you'd be shocked to know how many dollars worth of stuff walks off of job sites.
Yeah, I would imagine.
People take stuff home to renovate their basements and whatever. They do it from your job. Paint's a big one.
That makes sense.
Make sure that you're checking up on your subs and make sure that they're showing up at 8 o'clock or whatever time in the morning and not leaving until 4 o'clock, and they're working a full day, and make sure they're working a full set of days during the week. A lot of guys will show up on Monday and then come back Wednesday and then show up on the weekend. I mean, George, you can't work like that. Your contract needs to specify that the vendor or sub shows up every day in sequence without fail until the job's done. When the job's done, they can go take another job. But until then, they're showing up at your job site. A lot of these guys will show up at your job site sometimes, go to another job, then come back to yours, and you're going to make a payment to them, and they're going to take that money, and they're going to pay their employees for the other job down the road that's not yours. You got to watch this stuff. Keep an eye on your vendors. Keep an eye on your contractors and subs. All of this stuff is part of your responsibility. That's what you have to do. So, George, vet them. Make sure they're worth getting into business with. Have a great impenetrable set of documents that memorialize the relationship. Make sure that the materials are staying on the site, and check up on the subs. Keep that relationship going. If they're doing a good job, tell them they're doing a good job. And the way you're going to know is you're going to show up at the site. You're going to see it with your own eyes. You're in charge. Your team's in charge. You got to manage this relationship. If they're not doing a good job, you got to have that conversation too. But the only way you're going to know is if you show up.
Stay close to the asset.
Stay close to the asset. George, you sound brilliant.
Yeah,
Sounds like you listen to me.
Yeah, when I repeat people, they're smarter than me, then it helps to sound smart. Bloomberg reported that a large rental house owner, Invitation Homes, is making a shift into luxury single-family
Not
homes.
just Invitation.
Yeah, and so do you see that as a trend that will continue for single-family as opposed to multifamily and these other asset classes?
Invitation and all of these guys, BlackRock, Blackstone, Mountain View, Ocean Peak, all these big
giant capital institutions.
Yeah. They're starved for yield, George.
Yeah.
They've got nowhere to put money. The American single-family home market is sort of like the last bastion of defense before they fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
They have all this money. They got to put it to work somewhere. They're buying portfolios that consist of thousands and thousands of homes.
Yeah.
In some markets, they're going to keep them workforce.
Mm-hmm.
In some markets, they're going to maybe improve the houses a little bit. And in a lot of markets, they're going to upgrade and go for higher end rentals. Look, there's an ask for every seat. You've heard that before. Invitation has a portfolio of lots of homes, so they're going to try and cater to the biggest audience that they can. The way that they're going to do that is they're going to segment out their product for low, middle, high, and high income earners who are looking to rent. Everyone's looking to rent. It's the way you win today. Interest rates are rising. Fewer and fewer people are going to be able to buy as interest rates rise. Sure, prices might correct or flatten or whatever the predictions are, but when interest rates rise, it makes, for the general populace of home buyer who's getting a mortgage, it makes their cost of home ownership higher because their monthly payment is higher. So look, we said before that the 10-year Treasury was at 1.42 in December, and now it's at 2.4.
Yeah.
So it's 100 basis points.
Yeah.
That 100 basis points can translate into a significant difference in a monthly payment on a borrower's home mortgage. Interest rates are going up. Not a whole lot of people are going to be able to buy. Everyone's going to rent. There's a housing shortage. There's a lot of demand for housing. My head's exploding. All of this stuff is happening.
Yeah.
People are renting. Yeah. That's how you win. They want flexibility. They want mobility. They want ease. They want to hold on to their money, whatever money they have, they want to hold on to. Prices are insane right now for houses. People are renting. That's how they sort of beat the system for the time being. Until we create and build more supply, until these 3D printing technologies and alternative prefab technologies hit in large mass quantities everywhere. And until governments review their existing laws and regulations and ease restrictions to make it easier for new supply to come online and make it easier for the increase in supply to occur, prices for housing are going to be high. Renting is how you win. So there's going to be a lot of renters, all different income categories of renters, all different family compositions, large families, single occupants, couples, no kids, whatever. Everyone's renting. So yeah, Invitation's going to find a way to create product that appeals to the large group of all of these people. And whatever your income preference is and your price point is, they're going to have a product for you. Yeah, I see a lot of people upgrading houses, going for higher end stuff. I tell you what though, when there's a problem, the high end suffers the quickest, the most.
Right. Well, in pandemic, we saw that.
The quickest, the most.
Yeah.
I mean, people that were paying $20,000, $15,000, $12,000 a month for an apartment in a penthouse in some city. I mean, they got out of Dodge and they bought a house out in the suburbs somewhere during the pandemic, and they fueled the survival, the savior of the suburbs. That was all those people.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to be owning assets that are so high end that when there's a problem, I just can't fill them for the same price and I have to wait a long time to do that.
Yeah.
That's an issue. But sure, they're going to rent. Everybody is looking for things to rent.
You mentioned all the things that are going on: inflation, supply chain, all that kind of stuff.
War, political instability,
many things.
Anger and division, racial divide, income inequality.
Yeah. We could just do a whole podcast.
LGBTQ inequality.
Naming all those things. Yeah. As a result, economist David Rosenberg currently proposing that we're on the verge of a summer recession.
Wait, Rosenberg said what?
He said that we're on the verge of a summer recession.
I like how he says it's going to be a summer recession.
Right. Yeah. Well, I don't know if I may be editorializing there, but he's saying
what does he say?
June, July.
Well, that's the summer.
The quote.
You're not editorializing.
The quote that caught me was, "We're going to have anywhere from a 20% to 30% bear market in residential real estate, and that's being charitable."
And he thinks that's going to happen over the summer. So here's what makes me confused about all these fortune tellers about the economy. So there's so much money. Sure, interest rates are going up, but there's so much money in our system, and people have so much money. I know it sounds crazy to think because there's a lot of people out there that are listening that may not be in a great financial place. But I'll just tell you, generally, people have a lot of money right now after what's been happening the past couple of years, that they'll be able to weather through and pay some higher interest rates on a loan that they're going to borrow to purchase a home. So I'm not sure June, July, we're talking 90, 120 days from now. I'm not sure it's going to be that quick. I think we're going to get through this year, and we got to see how this war thing plays out. Look, everything's a tax on people right now. Higher interest rates, higher gas prices, fuel prices, food prices, in the general inflationary environment. There's a war happening. There's supply chain. Everything. It's just continuing. Everything's higher right now. Nothing's going backwards overnight. 90 to 120 days, 20 to 30%. I'm not feeling it. I think in 2023, when a lot of this stuff filters through our world and society and our system, I think we're going to start to see some of the corrections that Mr. Rosenberg's referring to. But I don't think by summer, George, there's a lot of money out there. And if someone's got a home for sale, it may not correct by 20 or 30% because Invitation might be there to buy it and put it into their high-end rental pool.
Yeah.
So I think Rosenberg identifies an inevitable occurrence. I just don't know that it's 90 to 120 days out from now. We're at the end of March right now. He's saying June, July. I don't think it's going to be that quick.
I want to talk about recurring tasks.
Wait, you want to talk about what?
Recurring tasks.
Recurring. I thought you said recurring taxes. I don't want to talk about recurring taxes. I'm in real estate, so I don't have to talk about recurring taxes.
There you go. That's the beauty of it. Yeah, really, what I want to talk about is efficiency. That you often talk about the importance of efficiency as a property owner, as a manager. What are common recurring tasks that other property managers should be on the lookout for?
So anybody in business, anybody in life needs to learn how to systemize things and make things more efficient. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you're in business or not, but you've asked me in a business context. So things that repeat every day can be set to a system. Things that are unpredictable and random that don't happen every day, you have to maybe spend more time on those, and that requires more hands-on attention, focus, and management. But recurring, repeating things, tasks that occur every day in your personal or business life can absolutely get on a system. Yeah. For example, in my office, we lease apartments. People move out, Apartments have to get cleaned, painted, and prepared for a new person to move in. People move in. All of that stuff is regular. Like it's a machine.
Yeah.
It's a conveyor belt. So we have systems set up. When the move out occurs, they come in, they give the keys. When we get the keys, that triggers the maintenance guys to go in. They've got 3 days to get the job done. On the third day, the manager goes in and makes sure that it's done to their satisfaction. And then the new guy moves in. We get the CO from the local town. We issue keys to the new. I mean, it's robotic. If you can get your hands around tasks that repeat daily, weekly, monthly, whatever the schedule is, your business is going to be able to scale. You can't scale and grow unless you've got systems. You can't scale and grow unless you've got recurring tasks under control that are automated. That's what AI seeks to do. AI seeks to make automation a feature of every function that happens in everybody's day. It can't with certain things, but with a lot of things, recurring tasks, it can. So our job as business owners, as leaders in your household, if you're running your household, recurring tasks. Look, at home, we have whiteboards and magnet boards, and we're putting people's schedules up, and my wife sees it, my kids see it, I see it. Look, you got to do that. That's what we do at home. You know, we know that the housekeeper comes Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We know that, it's a system. Like we know we fill up the cars with gas on Tuesday and Friday. We know that we have the landscape, like everything's set to a schedule because it's recurring, it's expected. And when you expect things to happen, you can plan for them and you can put in place systems that will address them. I can't stress it enough. You got to have systems in place to get through anything in life, your business, your personal life. You want more free time? Put systems in place to deal with all the shit in your personal life that you spend so much time on that you don't need to spend so much time on. Make it a system.
Anticipate, don't react. Yeah.
Wait, what did you say?
Anticipate, don't react.
George, you are on a roll this week. What is going on?
Well, it's a lot easier when I can just interject between.
It's amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just throwing zingers at me, and I'm very proud right now.
I appreciate that. You mentioned your daughter, and that was going to be my Zest Quest today. I was curious, what's something that you hope that your daughter takes from you, and then what's something that you hope she does either better than you or does something differently than you?
I hope she gets work ethic from me. I hope she gets drive and ambition from me. I hope she gets confidence from me.
Yeah.
And what do I hope that she does better than me?
Better or different, yeah.
Oh, she's already doing things that are better and different than I do. She's got an incredible personality, sense of humor. She's a magnet. People laugh around her. She makes people smile and laugh. And I always think that that's a superpower. And I do it okay. She does it really well. She does it way better than I do. She's conscientious. She's sweet. She's aware. Much younger than I ever was. George, you've heard me say it. I'm an idiot, and I didn't really mature or develop intellectually or become successful or whatever until way later in life.
Yeah.
She's got traits about her personality that are in place now that I didn't have until I was in my late 20s. And really proud of her for that. So she's already doing more sooner than I ever did in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, that's awesome.
She's the apple in my eye.
Yeah.
She makes my heart beat. She makes my heart melt. She's my everything.
Before we move over to Q&A, actually, I have a selfish Zest Quest that we might cut.
Selfish Zest Quest.
This is selfish for me. I'm hosting my first Seder in a couple weeks.
No!
Yeah.
Come on!
Yeah, so...
Get out of town.
Yeah, well, because, I didn't grow up in a Jewish household, but growing up in a Christian household, Jesus, contrary to popular belief, was Jewish.
Yeah.
So we're doing that on the 15th, and I was curious, what are elements from your Seders growing up that you were like, oh, that's something you should definitely do, and that's something you should definitely not do?
All right, hang on. So you're having a Seder because you're Christian.
Yeah.
Because you just want to experience what it's like culturally.
Well, it's the same Bible that we're reading. It's the same traditions that we're drawing from. It's just that, do
you have a Haggadah?
I'm leaning towards one particular one, but I'm curious to see if there's one that you recommend.
Well, the popular one that the whole planet has used is the
Maxwell House.
The Maxwell House coffee.
Yeah.
Is that what you have?
So that's one that came up. I'm leaning towards the Velveteen Rabbi. Is one. Yeah. It's
you're killing me with
format.
This. All right, so look.
Yeah.
I have nothing for you. Seder's at my house. We're an excuse to fuck around at the dinner table and to laugh So it started off. my dad would have to lead the Seder, and my dad was about as into leading a Seder as he wasn't. He thought it was an opportunity. He'd lift the book and he'd say, "All right, I'm going to read the 10 plagues," and he'd start off and he'd go, "Boils, fire," and then the rest of us would chime in, "Your farts." Like we'd make jokes, and like nothing ever got done during the Seder. Then my oldest brother Hank would take over, and he'd run the Seders. And Hank would make a mild attempt to run a serious Seder, but it lasted 42 seconds because eventually someone would kick in with a joke or start laughing. I mean, I've done 87% of the severe laughter in my life has occurred during our family's Seders at Passover.
Yeah, that's
So
great.
you can't really ask me how to do a Seder
I think
because
that's good advice, though.
I will screw up your Seder.
Yeah, don't take it too
Don't
seriously.
ever invite me to your Seder. I will make it a comedy show.
That sounds great, though. Yeah.
I mean, it's this crazy thing.
You
I mean,
did
it's like,
mention what was the Ferris Bueller. You mentioned that you guys sing that line.
oh, so
from-
right,
yeah.
so right. When Israel was in Egypt land, let my camel go. And then we get everybody to do that. And we make
Yeah.
a joke out of that song. Yeah. And then Dayenu, we just laugh at that the whole. I mean, there's so many comedic moments.
Yeah.
And then the food,
Right.
right? You got a plate with an egg,
Yep.
parsley,
Yep.
a bone.
Yep.
Like it's and the only thing that's good, right? You're waiting like 7 hours to eat, and the only thing that's good while you got matzah. Most matzah is not that good.
I was gonna say, yeah.
So what you do is you eat all the harosits. The harosits is like apple, cinnamon, raisin. That stuff's good. It's like a fruit salad.
Totally.
You just I eat that by the spoonful. I'm all sugared up.
Blocked up by the mortar of the Israelites.
Oh my God.
Yep.
And then when you're at the cusp of shooting yourself in the head because you're so hungry,
Yeah.
you know what you get? Gefilte fish. That's your reward.
Yeah.
For this is like typical Jewish. It's like the suffering and the guilt and the more suffering.
Yeah, you got to suffer before you
Just
can
give
enjoy.
me. I mean, if I'm sitting there for 18 friggin' hours or whatever it is, I can't eat except for the cardboard matzah and the fruit salad, which is all gone in 4 seconds and there's none left.
Yeah.
And then you have to wait it out. And everyone's so friggin' hungry by then that all the soup goes in 4 seconds. And then the real meal comes.
Yeah.
Man, it's so ass backwards. I don't, they could have consulted with the Italians, anybody, any other culture. I don't know why we lack this food thing. It's incredible. I went to Zahav in
I was gonna
Philadelphia
say,
a few weeks ago.
There's a deep relationship with food in the Jewish culture, but just
Well,
maybe not during a Seder.
This guy, the chef at Zahav in Philadelphia, it's an incredible restaurant.
Yeah.
He does Israeli food. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, your head will explode. It's very flavorful. It's incredible. But this is not a food review of Zahav.
Right, yeah.
But that's just an example of someone who probably was frustrated through Passover Seder dinners and just
Trying to improve
made
upon
his
it.
yeah. But I'm sorry that you're having a Seder. I don't know why you would do that to yourself and your family.
Well, I've been to a few before, and I just decided, this was the year. My wife and I have our own place now, so it's.
And I love that you're just doing a Seder for the fun of it because I can tell you as a Jewish guy, it's not fun. I like to be with my family and hang out, but the dinner is just it's.
I should add, we probably will do an abbreviated version. It won't be this full 7 hour.
Will you videotape it for me?
I could do that. Yeah, actually.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear you guys read the English,
the
the alliteration.
I'll try a few of the Hebrew, but I think I wasn't trained in Torah growing up, so I won't be able to do
so
that
impressed that
effectively,
you
so.
seek knowledge in this area. Like I'm like running from like Passover. My wife and so I get like Russ and Daughters in New York City.
Yeah, classic.
My favorite. Like I order bagels and lox from the Rugula. It's like the best shit.
They were just selling Hamatashen for Ukraine this week.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
or
love
last
that.
week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great place.
Yeah.
So Russ and Daughters, Rus. I know some people say Rus and
Yeah,
Daughters.
I say
and,
Russ.
yeah. So I order. They ship like a bagel and lox and cream cheese thing. They'll just ship it out to you off of Gold Belly, that website.
Yeah.
And it's like $100 or something. You get all these bagels. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I get an email. I'm on their email list, so
Right.
I get an email this morning about Passover's coming up. Check out our big selection of Passover gifts. And I'm looking, and it's like matzah and gefilte. Like it's just All I want is the bagels with the lox and the cream cheese and the.
Which you can't have on Passover. Right?
You can't have.
The bagels at least.
Oh,
yeah, so.
God.
Well, I thank you. I appreciate this. This prepares me for a lot.
Yeah.
So
It's fun.
no,
Seders are fun.
Yeah.
But you just don't take them too seriously.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good.
I mean, if you're strictly religious,
No,
you're
of
going to have a
course.
serious Seder. I just,
Yeah,
you
but
know.
clearly I'm not Orthodox, so yeah. We'll
Yeah.
do it. Yeah, cool. All right, well, thanks so much, Peter, and
All
I'll
right.
see you over at Q&A. All right, Peter, I got this question from Shira Tompkins.
Shira Tompkins.
Yes.
All right, Shira.
So she says, I want 2022 to be the year that I really get my shit together and
Me
get
too.
squared away with my business.
Me too.
My fitness and my relationships, but I'm already behind in some of my goals. How do you develop your sense of discipline, and how do you keep going when you've fallen short on a goal?
Oh man, Shira, you got to do it every day. You got to get up, get out, and get it done. It's not sometimes, it's not some days, it's not I don't know when, it's not maybe next week, it's not, oh, I'm on an airplane, I can't, it's not, oh, I'm too tired, I don't feel like it. It's none of that stuff. You got to get up, you got to get out, and you got to get it done, and it's 7 days a week, all the time, until you get the results you want. If you're not getting the results you want, change your behaviors. If you're not getting the results you want, change what your schedule is, what your actions are that you're taking. All of that dictates results. Unhappy with the results? Change the behaviors. Don't make excuses. Don't come up with other things to do. Don't hang out with loser friends. Don't do shit that doesn't further your objectives. Get up, get out, and get it done.
100%. I love it.
Come on, Shira.
All right. Thanks so
Let's
much,
go.
Peter, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody.